Hello, good evening. It's 5 p.m. Welcome to 505. Coming up this evening, the committee investigating the Kosomo substation fire has ruled out any human interference, attributing the blaze to insulation failure and the decayed state of a control station built in 1964.
Between the two panels, we have the control cables and whatever. And mind you, Kosomo substation is a very big one. It has 11 outgoing circuits. 11 outgoing circuits. So they had a lot of cables in there. And the LV cables were within those cables. So they started burning. And within a short time, the whole place was ablaze.
A new facility is also being proposed.
We must put up a new control building. We have identified the Pokwase substation. That is a new substation that...
Also coming up this evening, Education Ministry assures institutional suppliers over the free senior high school program they will be paid their arrears within 1 week.
This week. In a week's time, yeah. I'm very sad.
And later this evening, football fans recall greatest World Cup memories ahead of the opening of the 2026 FIFA World Cup.
And then after that, I think the all famous Asamoah Gyan World Cup penalty. That World Cup as well. So basically, that is what I can say about.
Of course, Trust Class 91.3 will bring you the live commentary here between the Mexico and South Africa this evening at 7 p.m. But before that, we'll bring you the live coverage of the opening ceremony, which is going to happen somewhere 5:30 p.m. So that's it there. These are more stories plus some interesting analysis to do. Stay with us. Well, live from our studios here, digital address G0423598, North Laboni, third day work on Class 91.3 FM in Accra. We also live on Ho FM 92.5, Hills 91.7 at Daklu, both in the Volta region, Max Empire 96.9 at Bazua in the Upper East region, Dagon FM 102.5 in Tamale, Radio Park 96 in Spain. We're live on Facebook. Connect with us or join us with a thought, comment, and contributions with a hashtag 505, alternatively through our WhatsApp number 0500,000 202. My name is Kwame Okyere Jnr. It's time, it's 505. Welcome. 505 is always brought to you by Electoral and Ghana Limited, MTN, everywhere you go, and review scratch for win. To the very first story, the committee set up to investigate the Kosomo substation fire has concluded that insulation failure, worsened the deteriorated and outdated condition of the facility caused the blaze that triggered widespread power supply disruptions across the country. The fire, which originated at the Kosomo substation, caused significant disruptions to the power supply nationwide, raising public concern about the reliability of the Ghana's electricity transmission infrastructure. There's more in the following news desk report.
In the late hours of Thursday, April 23, 2026, a fire broke out at the Ghana Grid Company (Gridco) substation at Akosombo in the eastern region. The blaze tore through the control room and switchyard of the facility, causing extensive damage to critical infrastructure that channels electricity from the Akosombo hydroelectric dam into the national grid. The impact was immediate and severe. At the peak of the crisis, over 1,000 megawatts of power lay stranded at Akosombo, unable to be evacuated to the rest of the country. The Ashanti region, Central region, and the Tema industrial enclave were among the hardest hit, when businesses, industries, and households plunged into darkness. To put the numbers in context, the affected transmission system alone accounted for nearly 70% of the power evacuation capacity linked to the Akosombo dam. The damage was so extensive that authorities took the drastic decision to completely shut down the Akosombo dam as a safety measure. Energy Minister John Abdullahi Jinapor, who visited the facility, described the incidents as, in his own words, one of the most serious and unprecedented disruptions ever experienced in Ghana's power sector. The Akosombo hydroelectric dam was commissioned in 1965 under Ghana's first president, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, as the centerpiece of an ambitious industrialization agenda. For 6 decades, it has served as the backbone of Ghana's electricity generation, supplying power to millions of homes, businesses, and industries, and supporting Ghana's role as the regional power exporter. The control station that was scattered by the fire was built in 1964, making it over 60 years old at the time of the incident. Beyond the power cut, the fire triggered a swift political and institutional response. Within days, the minister in charge of government communications, Felix Kwame Okyere, announced that Gridco's chief executive officer, Mark Awuaba, had been asked to step aside pending investigations into the incident. Speculations about the cause of the fire also began to circulate publicly, including suggestions of possible human interference or sabotage. A committee was constituted to investigate the matter, determine the cause, assess the damage, and make recommendations to governments.
So that's a news desk report there. While presenting the findings to the Energy Minister, John Abdullah Jnr, this afternoon, the committee chair, Engineer William Amuna, categorically ruled out any form of human interference in the incident. The committee pointed to the aging condition of the control station as a central factor in the incident, noting that the facility was built in 1964 and is no longer fit to meet modern operational demands.
Now, the fire actually started from that changeover area of the LV panel. And that is because that building was started, I mean, the first structure came up around 1964 or so. I guess there are many people here who were not born at the time. Some of us were in class 1. Yeah. So some of the cables have gone brittle and whatever. And once they were in metal encasements, there was this, what we call, I don't know whether I need to use that, but there's some kind of fault that you don't have the current just flowing in because of the insulation of the materials over there. Now, when that happened, the supply from the powerhouse tripped at 311 amps. The second transformer nearby took over and started supplying. So it means it was feeding into the fault. Now, unfortunately, the setting on the second transformer, I guess the transformer was meant for other things, so it had a setting of 450 amps. Now, you would imagine that 450 amps would not trip at all, so that was feeding into the fault. And within a short time, the insulation, which is like plastic, caught fire. Now, that LV panel is connected to yet another LV panel, so the two panels started having high current and the insulation burning. Between the two panels, we have the control cables and whatever. And mind you, Akosombo substation is a very big one. It has 11 outgoing circuits. 11 outgoing circuits. So they had a lot of cables in there. And the LV cables were within those cables. So they started burning. And within a short time, the whole place was ablaze. The whole place was ablaze. So it actually started from insulation failure from some of the cables in the LV panel, and not anybody going to turn something or do twist something or whatever. No.
So that's the reports presented to the Energy Minister, John Abdullah Jnr, by the chairman of that committee, Engineer William Amuna there. Well, beyond identifying the cause, the committee also proposed the construction of a new control system to replace the decade-old facility, a recommendation that underscores long-standing concerns about the state of critical energy infrastructure in the country.
Now, Honorable Minister, we sent an earlier memo to you. And the memo was to tell you that we needed an interim arrangement there so we could transfer the protection from Akosombo power plant to that side. So that is being done now. Hopefully very soon it will be over, and then I will do that. Now let me look at I don't want to go through all these findings, the financial implications and all those things, because Honorable Minister has another meeting. But let me look at some of the recommendations. We are expecting that by the end of August, this interim arrangement should be in so that we can transfer the protection and the control back to that arrangement that's being undertaken by Gridco and then the VRA. And so I'm sure very soon Gridco will be knocking at your doors for assistance, which I know you have been pushing from the beginning. So hopefully we should have state-of-the-art permanent control building. I expect that such a building could come up within 18 and 24 months.
So that's the chairman of that committee there. Well, after receiving the reports, the Energy Minister, John Abdullah Jnr, also addressed the findings. Take a listen.
Let me assure you that we will take this report seriously. We will digest all the contents of the reports and implement the report to the letter. Yes, it is true, the engineers did a good job in restoring power, but that is not to say that if somebody is found culpable, that person will not be held to account. That is the call to duty. And so this will serve as a lesson. Already, based on the briefing we got from you along the line, we've taken some action. We've gotten them to be a bit more proactive. This is a lesson that should teach us to avoid the future occurrence of this very unfortunate situation. And from what you are saying, it's obvious that a lot should have been done over the years. And so this should be a wake-up call for us so that we can strengthen the system, make it more responsive, improve our emergency response system, maintenance culture, and more importantly, invest in the grid in order to have a resilient energy sector.
And that's the Energy Minister there, John Abdullah Jnr. Let me go on the phone line and speak with Director of Research at the Institute for Energy Security, Prosper Smith. Prosper, good evening to you. I'm grateful for your time on 505. So the investigating committee has attributed the Akosomo substation fire to insulation failure in a facility which was built in 1964. Clearly very old. As an energy aspect, how significant is this findings?
Thank you very much, Kwame, and then good evening to your listeners. Just a bit of a clarity. I am the senior research and policy analyst.
Very well.
Yes, not a director.
Very well.
Yes, okay. Yes, and so this is an important conversation and important development, and it is. This recommendation and this report is obviously a call in the right direction as far as the energy security and supply of power is concerned. And so we all recall that there was a fire outbreak, a significant one at the Akosobo control room switchyard that knocked off more than 1,000 megawatts of power that we had, of course, with cascading curtailment to Ashanti region, for example, Volta region, OT, Greater Accra, part of Central region, all experience the harsh reality of the loss of the 1,000 megawatts of power. And so this is not the usual routine operational failure, but it is a force majeure that we all didn't see coming. But nonetheless, also needed prior systems in place to check some of these defaults or failures. And so if you delve down into the report, you realize that the underlying factor of the cause of the fire was an insulation problem, which is due to obsolete nature of the wiring system, obviously at the switchyard. And so going forward, one of the things we can do, knowing that there is an attempt or there is the plan to put up a permanent control room, we need to also be cognizant of the fact that when we are going this direction, then it means that there are certain things we need to put in place that ensures the resilience of the system. So the resilience will mean that how our national interconnected transmission system is able to recover, adapt, or adopt a resilience mode when there is a disruption in the system. And so some of the things that IES will look to recommend is that the new structure should be able to have robustness, in it. When I say robustness, I'm talking about how the structure will be able to suppress fire outbreak, in that the infrastructure is hardened enough to suppress some fire outbreaks, as it were. We didn't have that over here. Even if we had, it means that the system failed, which will mean that there's wear and tear as regards to how old the structure has been.
I see.
And then again, we need to look at redundancy in the new structure going forward. So redundancy will mean that how do we ensure an alternative evacuation of the 1,000 megawatts of power that, as it were, was a challenge when the fire broke. Because you have a concentration of 1,000 megawatts of power being operated from a particular control room. And if we have only a single source which will, of evacuating the power, it means that any catastrophic action will render the whole evacuation pathway inoperable. And that is what we experienced when the fire broke out. And so this, going forward, whether temporary or permanent, we need to look at, alternative evacuation routes or pathway that we can use when there is such accident or emergencies. Because you saw the impact being felt across the country, especially in the southern part of the country, which was a big problem, as long as the public nature of these goods are concerned, which will mean electricity. And then we also need to look at how to diversify, how we evacuate power. You have 1,000 megawatts of power concentrated at a particular location. It means that any danger that befalls that location will have a challenge in evacuating that power, and it becomes a problem. So how can we brainstorm? There are international safety standards, and international infrastructure standard, especially when it comes to, control room or switchyard construction. So the point we must also notice that the dam itself, the over 1,000 megawatts of power was intact, but the means to evacuate such power was what actually became a definite problem. And so if you are able to diversify and ensuring that if you are able to diversify anchored on building resilience for the system, it means that even if there is an accident at one switchyard, we are certain that we can evacuate the power through a different means, which will help. Yes, we saw Gridco together with VRA respond flexibly in their own ways, improvise when they say they improvise a connection philosophy that helped. It was good, but at the end of the day, it can be best described as more of a reactionary approach, right? And so we must take cognizant going forward that these are some of the measures that we can put in place, ensuring that flexibility. So how do we institutionalize response to such events? When such events happen, are we now coming to say, okay, let's form a joint task force, from VRA and Gridco to be able to tackle it. We must institutionalize the approach in terms of future occurrence. So we may have a standby team, we may have a standby logistics, we may have, what have you we need to be able to combat such a problem. Now we have encountered such thing, and so it is good that we draw some lessons from it that could help. Then you look at agility as well. How do we ensure that the new structure we are going to build is modernized, is modernized to meet international benchmark? Is it going to be just a like-for-like structure as compared to what was bent in Akosombo?
Right. The chief executive officer for Gridco was asked to step aside following the fire. Beyond the individual accountability, what systemic reforms does this incident demand? Many are calling for his reinstatement. Now we are done with the investigation. Should he be reinstated, or he should still be asked to step aside?
Well, IES is more concerned with energy security, and then ensuring the safeguard of energy to impact the economy. For the issue of critical management, I'm sure that leadership, as it were, will be able to take that up. I am not privy to the details concerning his dismissal, and so I can only speak to the prevailing issue, which has to do with the report and, as it were, the plans to construct a new switchyard. I'm sure with the experience that the energy ministry has and other stakeholders in the sector will be able to appropriately dispense with this matter.
I see. Prosper, let me thank you so much for your time this evening. I'm grateful. So that's Prosper there. He is the senior policy researcher with the Institute for Energy Security. This is 505 on Class 91.3, just about 22 minutes after 5. Well, the Accra High Court has been informed that Ashanti Regional Chairman of the New Patriotic Party, Bernard Ntwibosiako, popularly known as Chairman Wontumi, seeking a plea bargaining in the ongoing criminal case involving alleged fraud linked to the Ghana Export-Import Bank, that's Exim Bank. The Office of the Attorney General formally notified the courts of the developments in a filing date June 11, 2026, indicating that the first accused person had initiated steps toward a plea negotiation process. The request was made through Wuntumi's lawyer, Andy Apiakubi, and communicated to the Attorney General in a letter dated June 5, 2026. The notice was filed under Section 162C, subsection 3 of the Criminal and Other Offences Procedure Act 1960, Act 30. What will go on the phone line and speak with legal practitioner Ni Tete. He joins me on the phone. Counsel, I'm grateful for your time on 505. First of all, does a request for a plea bargain amount to an admission of guilt by the accused person?
Well, thank you very much. Let me say good evening to your listeners. Well, asking for plea bargain does not necessarily mean that you have pleaded guilty. Now, a plea bargaining just indicates that you perhaps want another way of settling the matter so that at least the court can consider that in terms of your conviction or not. And so it does not necessarily mean that submitting a plea bargaining means that we are guilty.
What factors will the Attorney General consider in deciding whether or not to accept the plea bargain proposal by the accused?
Well, once the party, the accused person has approached the Attorney General to discuss issues of plea bargaining and what exactly he wants to return and all that, obviously the Attorney General, all they need to do is to submit that plea bargaining before the court. I'm sure they have, and once the plea bargaining has been, the court has been informed about this action or attempt by the accused person, then it means that whatever the trial would actually be suspended until there's a finality in terms of what is actually agreed so far as this plea bargaining is concerned. So this notice by the Attorney General suspend the trial until there is a finality in what must be done in terms of the plea bargaining.
But what then does this message of plea bargain say, or what message does this use to? What message does the use of plea bargain actually send about the administration and also administration of justice in corruption and also some financial crime cases?
You see, the point is that there are many times where, as a state, you want to take someone to jail, but after the jail, what next? It is also the money you also need. Once the person is convicted, what happens to the amount of money that has been spent? Is there a way that so this plea bargain has brought to light that at least you have a chance as an accused person to bargain with the Attorney General, with the state, in terms of whether you should be convicted or not. And so this plea bargain has really come to help, because look, anytime the state is, prosecuting an accused person, it's obviously not because of taking the person to jail alone, but also to find a way of retrieving the money that has been stolen, or money that maybe the matter that has caused financial loss to the state. Now, if this hadn't come, it means that people will go to jail and their monies will still lose the money and will have nothing to show for.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is a good law that has come to assist the state in terms of retrieving the money. But there are many people who, if they do not accept or tell you that accused persons do not come to tell you that, well, I'll give you this money, there's no way you can be able to even retrieve the money. And so for an accused person to say, well, let's come and sit down, have a discussion about it and bargain, because I'm ready to refund this amount of money. It is now left for the Attorney General to file to the court, and now the court to decide whether, well, depending on how matters have been going and how the accused person has indicated that he's ready to refund some of the money or all the money, then at least the court can consider and see whether the accused person will be convicted as in taken to jail or fined. So this is a good step. This law has really come to assist the state to at least retrieve monies that cannot be found, or that have been stolen, or that cannot be found because the accused person is not even forthcoming, or an opportunity has not been given to the accused person to even say, I want to return monies that is with me.
But won't that also encourage people to engage in corruption and corruption-related offences, knowing very well that they can plead bargain, especially if the person is actually caught?
The point is that plea bargaining doesn't mean that you will not go to jail. Plea bargaining means that perhaps your sentencing may be reduced. So it doesn't mean that at all costs you will not go to jail. You are likely to still go to jail, but your sentencing will reduce, or you may be fined. And so it's not a way to encourage people to engage in corruption, because you cannot be sure that after returning the money you would be free, and that is not the intention behind the plea bargaining. The plea bargaining is to also ask for reduction of sentence. I mean, if indeed you know you are guilty, of course you are going to go to jail, but you are asking for reduction of sentence because you are ready to return the money, and you are supposed to go to jail for 20 years and it's reduced to 5 years. I mean, it's better than actually rotting in jail for 20 years when you could have just returned the money. So that in the next 5 years or so, you'll be reduced. So the intention is at least you know that you are likely to go to jail, or you are likely to be convicted. Let me use that word. You are likely to be convicted. Your conviction doesn't mean you are going to jail, but you are likely to be convicted. But you are looking at the gravity of your conviction. And if you are ready to return monies you have stolen, or you are ready to account and make sure the money that have, whatever you have done that has caused financial loss to the state, you are ready to make amends, then the court can look at it based on what has been submitted before the court by the Attorney General, and look at it and decide whether indeed you should be convicted, one way or the other. Yeah.
Based on your experience, what are the possible scenarios that could emerge from this plea bargain request, and what should Ghanaians be watching for in the coming court proceedings?
Well, I think in the month of July is the date for sentencing.
Yeah, July 3.
So, but that means what it means is that will hold, because the plea bargain has come before the court. What it means is that date will not be the date that the court will sentence, because now the Attorney General has indicated that the accused person through his lawyers have come for a plea bargain, which means that the court will wait for the outcome of the plea bargain, the plea agreement, for the outcome of the plea agreement, and then decide what to do. So that date will not be the date for sentencing. It will rather be the date that they will take another date and inform the court about the outcome of the plea bargain, and then definitely they'll file their plea agreement, and based on that the court will decide when to convict him or not.
Meaning on the 3rd of July the court will sit, but it will be adjourned because of the
trial will now be suspended, because now there's a plea bargaining that has been put before the court. And so the court will now be interested in what plea agreement. Because what it means is that the attorney general accused person will now sit down and now come to an agreement as to when and how they are going to, when the accused person is going to return the money and what have you, and then now inform the court that this is their plea, inform and file the plea agreement that this is what has come, and then based on that, the court will now decide based on the plea agreement.
Very well. Counsel, thank you so much for your time this evening. So that's private legal practitioner Ni Tete Tete who joined the conversation. Let me stay on the phone line and speak with Emmanuel Wilson Jr., who is the chief crusader with the Crusaders Against Corruption. Mr. Wilson, I'm grateful for your time on 505. Good evening to you.
It's a pleasure. Good evening, my brother.
Plea bargaining, is it a threat to the fight against corruption?
Not really. It is not. It is actually how you go about it that will determine whether it's a threat or not. When the plea bargaining law came into being, one thing I indicated was that aside punishing when persons are found culpable, what is most important is to retrieve, and most of times retrieval with the necessary interest. And so if it is found that Mr. A has engaged in corruption practices that have cost the country 10 million Ghana cedis, plea bargaining should be an avenue where we'll be able to retrieve the 10 million Ghana cedis and also retrieve any necessary interest that may have accrued, in addition to probably a minimal punishment. Not absolute freedom, but some level of punishment. Of course, because we are retrieving, the punishment should be minimal compared to a case where there isn't any retrieval at all. So it is not a threat at all. It is actually one of the ways. Unfortunately, it looks like, and that is how it has been suggested, that anytime plea bargaining comes in, we ignore the aspect of minimal punishment and then just go in for the retrieval of the money. Because if it is just about retrieval of the money, and I want to use Wuntumi's case as a case study, Wuntumi went for an amount of money, 18.7 million Ghana cedis, in the year, I think, 2017 or so. From 2017 to this day, that is 2026, a number of years have come on. It would be so unfair for you to say that you are just retrieving the money with all the interest minus anything called punishment. Mind you, whatever interest will be accruing, it is very possible that the profit may exceed the interest. And so if I take 18 million and at the end of the day, I work with it and I make an additional 18 million, and you are telling me that I should pay 18 million with an interest of 2 or 3 million, what it means is that I'll be having an excess of about 15 million. And that will be a benefit to me. So if there's no punishment, plea bargaining will rather end up becoming an avenue where people would deliberately want to engage in corrupt practices, knowing very well that they take profit, and when they are caught, they will just come and pay some money in the name of interest, and they'll just they'll go scot-free.
Should we? I've heard many say that we should change the law that accepts plea bargaining. But what can the CSOs do to discourage government in accepting plea bargaining?
I think that we don't have to change the laws. Neither do we have to discourage. What we should rather do is to vary the law or amend the law in such a way that plea bargain shouldn't be an absolute solution. It should be plea bargain with a minimum sentencing or a minimal punishment. The two should go hand in hand. That is what we should do, because from all indication, where we don't have plea bargain, there are chances that we may not retrieve any money for the state. And I don't think that Ghanaians are more interested in just custodian sentence without retrieval of any money. I know of individuals who would deliberately amass wealth illegally, and all they say is that, well, I'll go to prison and spend 10, 15 years. When I come back, the money will still be there for me to use or to spend. And so they will rather take that path. But where you say that I'm retrieving all the money and you're still going to prison, then it becomes a deterrent. Because, you see, in all of this fight against corruption, among other things, the key thing we look out for is deterrent, making sure that it doesn't repeat or people do not engage in similar acts. And that is what we need to look at. I am not for the scrubbing of plea bargain. Neither am I in for discouraging the government from using plea bargain. I am more and absolutely into we reviewing the laws on plea bargain that will include a minimal sentence. So the two should be what we'll be looking for: retrieval of the money and some level of sentencing or punishment.
Ms. Olsen, thank you. I'm grateful for your time. Thank you so much for your time this evening. So that's Emmanuel Wilson Jr., who is the chief crusader with the Crusaders Against Corruption. This is 505 on Class 91.3. Electoral and Ghana Limited is giving you rewards weekly and monthly when you buy Samsung, TCL Media, NASCO Electronics anywhere in Ghana and from any authorized dealer or reseller. Just buy your LED, smart TV, splits, AC, double door fridges, auto grill gas cookers, washing machines, sound towers, microwaves, blenders, mobile phones, and many more from Samsung, TCL Media, and NASCO. And dial star 928 star 8888 hash, star 928 star 8888 hash, or go to Electroland. Go to register.electrolandraffles.com to enter our weekly and monthly draws approved by NLA on the Characters platform. Electroland Ghana Limited, reward your patronage the big way. Well, the Ministry of Education has assured institutional suppliers under the Free Senior High School program that their outstanding claims will be paid within 1 week following a picket at the ministry today. The assurance came after members of the National Association of Institutional Suppliers presented a petition demanding the payments of nearly 50 million Ghana cedis owed for uniforms, house dresses, and school cloth supplied to public school, senior high schools since 2023. The suppliers say repeated engagements with government have failed to yield results, leaving many businesses struggling under the weight of the prolonged delays. After receiving the petition, the Minister for Education, Haruna Idrisu, pledged to work with the relevant agencies to ensure the outstanding claims are settled within the next 7 days. Listen to the Minister for Education, Haruna Idrisu.
Na Ministry of Finance ne get fine. Be mobilize Saskano na ya and I want to thank you for coming to the Ministry of Education. What I urge you is to behave well and comport yourself and conduct yourself within the meaning of the law. Your protest is justified. If government doesn't pay you for 2 years, even the value 3 years. Now maybe by some about 1 year. 3 years. As I'm a 3 years doesn't mean maybe 3 years na many ha. Na me see. Now Chimusambe Kamu in a week's time, yeah. I'm very certain about it.
So that's the Minister for Education, Haruna Idrisu. Let me speak with the President of the National Association of Institutional Suppliers, Emmanuel Ayivo. Good evening to you. I'm grateful for your time on 505. That's an assurance enough from the ministry, isn't it?
Yes, thank you, and good evening. Thank you for having me. Yes, it's refreshing to hear the minister giving us this assurance, and we will want to, through this medium, extend our appreciation to him.
So I guess you're going to work for the next 1 week to ensure that your monies are being paid. What next if the monies are not being paid?
Yes, for now we have to wait, like you said, and patiently monitor whatever happens. Now the promise or the assurance was not given to only the association members. Media were present, you heard it. Ghanaians have heard it. And through this opportunity given to me, a lot of people have also heard him saying, just on the premise that he gave. So I don't think minister will try to dent his image on that. Initially, we were telling you that assurance upon assurances, but it was worse. But this time it is to Ghanaians. Everybody has heard. So I'm very sure that for his credibility, we wouldn't even be thinking about a time will come and what next will we do. I'm very sure that as a matter of urgency, they will pay us. And to add to that, after Minister's speech, Minister requested that we meet the Chief Director and the Director of Finance, as well as the FHS coordinator, to see the modalities of payment. And myself and with some reps, we vividly saw the checks with our eyes that Get Fund has disbursed an amount to ministry's account for our payment. So for this assurance, we can actually and confidently say that payments will commence.
I see. Ima, thank you so much for your time this evening. So that's Emmanuel Aivo, who is the national president of the association. Well, an investigation by Upper East reporter Mo Sapia has uncovered discrepancies in the implementation of the World Bank funded livelihood project under the Gulf of Guinea Northern Region's social cohesion initiative in the Talented districts of the Upper East region. The investigation, titled Unwanted Fish Pond: How a World Bank funded project failed two Upper East communities, found that fish farming infrastructure intended to support youth employment and local economic development was not completed as planned. Residents say only a pit was constructed, despite report that the projects would include fish ponds, mechanized boreholes, and water storage facilities. Musapia has more in this report.
At the edge of the Toko in the Talisi district, a pit lies open, silent, unfenced, and slowly carving in. Dry branches and faded leaves have scattered across it, not as part of any construction, but as a desperate attempt by residents to prevent children and livestock from falling in. From a distance, it appears abandoned, yet official records tell a very different story. Documents from the Ministry of Local Government, the Talisi District Assembly, and the World Bank funded Soko project describe the site as a completed 4-chamber fish pond with a mechanized borehole and a 3,500 liter tank. But a visit to the site says otherwise. It is a hole, no fish pond, no borehole, no tank, just a hole. Elijah T.
This is the drilled one they came and drilled 2023 that I'm talking of. So I don't know if they said they have handed over, whether this one that they have handed over to the community or what, I don't know. But you can see it for yourself. Yeah.
Elijah T. is the former assembly member for the Toko electoral area. The Soko project under the Toko was designed to support livelihood for about 6,500 residents through fish farming and improve water access in 2023.
So if this project was to come on, a lot of the youth would have been, because they would have employed a lot of the people, which they might have been running shift. And those who are always sitting idly doing nothing, they would have gotten employment. And the people too would have access to what? Water, because I think this project was coming with a mechanized borehole, which would have also helped the community. So for now, it's something that has been a worry because the project couldn't come again.
Elijah T. The project, residents say, did not go beyond an initial drilling attempt. Anthony Miyala.
Then when they came, the community members, we just came together, and then on that day they didn't get water, so they just said no water, and we took their tools and went back.
Anthony Miyala is a retired educationist and fish farmer in the Toko.
Always here, 24 hours. I get on point. So whoever sees they have constructed fish pond in the Toko is a lie.
Investigations further revealed that the project did not simply stop in the Toko. It was relocated with just a phone call. The fish pond and borehole originally allocated to the Toko were taken to Santin, another community in the district that was not listed as a beneficiary community. In the Toko, nothing exists. In Santin, something exists but delivers nothing. Joseph Boson, a resident in Santin.
They just came here to do it for us. When they bring the fish here, it will help us. We are still waiting for them to bring it so that it will help us. Yes, the last told us now, but we didn't hear any information about it again.
Tinana Kingsley, another resident in Santin.
I'm a villager here and my people like me, so I have to provide the land. So they came and did everything and borehole, but now it will start working. I'm disappointed. And disappointed with my people. The land can be using for farming. So now, what is the use of it? But I don't know the right person I will face.
Yet, conflicting explanations continue to grow. The Talisi District Planning Officer, Diana Sabia, says the contractor failed to find water in the Toko.
So we were, myself, the former engineer, Simon, DC, the former DCE, sent us to go to the Datuku chief and go and let him know that this is, because we already went there and spoke to him and the assemblyman. So we went to the palace, we sat with the chief and we made him to understand that this is what we intended to do. But the contractor has come, he has drilled twice, dry, no water. So once there is no water there, let's look at an alternative.
The former district chief executive, Thomas Duanab Winnie, also tells a different story.
I remember one of the communities could not provide land or something. So it is possible that the Toko.
So the reason that Toko named though captured as a complete project but never got it was because they were having land issues.
I think so.
But the Toko chief, Nava Nicholas Nambel, rejects both accounts.
This is a wicked lie. Did they come to my palace and told me that they were finding an alternative of getting land? Did they even consulted myself or my assembly or my elders to say they were looking for an alternative source of getting land because we couldn't get water? Nobody. This is a wicked lie.
Under SOCO's principles, projects are expected to remain within approved beneficiary communities unless formal procedures are followed. The Upper East Regional SOCO Coordinator, Samuel Labi, stresses.
Because we are very much particular about community. At the initial stage, you said community A. We'll ensure that community A will go through all the fit for all our criteria. No matter what they should benefit from, we cannot deny them. Where even borehole, they are supposed to drill, and they do not drill at the right side. We don't pay. We ensure that such things are done in the right manner for the community to benefit. If you said you drill ball with community A and you go to drill in community between community A and community B, there's no way we will pay you. We ensure that you say community A, that's where we ensure that the facility is provided and the community benefit for the project.
Yet in the Toko's case, no documentation or clear evidence of consultation has been provided to justify the relocation. Just a phone call. The Talisi District Director of Agriculture, Maitu Sulemana, says,
I was not part of the handing over of the site. The contractor went and drilled, he drilled at 2 locations and didn't hit water. So they now called me and told me that the contractor has gone to the Tuku and didn't get water. So they have to relocate it. So they then asked me the possible area and we said Santon, which is at Santon.
Yet, former DCE, Mr. Winnie, defends the phone call move.
Yeah, who made the rules? I didn't know human beings. Why?
An RTI response from the District Assembly indicated that 425,000 Ghana cedis was allocated for fish pond and borehole infrastructure in Datoko and its neighboring community, Goroko. For Goroko, the project exists. The contractor, Ayamba Gilbert Amor of GC Bescom Limited, says he was paid for the pit drilled.
100 meters that you drill dry, you charge them.
Of course.
And how much do you charge them?
My brother, go to the district assembly. They keep the financial records. I don't keep financial records. I was paid according to what is in the contract. I am saying that if you want financial information, go to the district assembly and find out.
He further confirmed that he was awarded a 671,000 contract covering multiple communities, including Datoko. But the District Assembly failed to provide a breakdown of how much was spent specifically on the abandoned pit in Datoko or other projects. However, industry estimates suggest mechanized boreholes in the region cost between 15 to 17,000 Ghana cedis, whilst fish pond systems ranges between 10,000 to 15,000 Ghana cedis. Without detailed cost data, it is difficult to determine whether payments reflect actual work done, raising concerns about value for money. Meanwhile, the explanation that the Toko lacks water is also contested. Field visit identified a functioning hand pump borehole near the project site and a mechanized borehole at a nearby health facility. Elijah T.
How can you say there is no water in the Toko? This is a mechanized borehole in the Toko. And look at water. There is water flowing. This is where women are fed. You are saying there is no water in the Toko like how? Look at it. What is it? Flowing well. And you are saying there is no water in the Toko, but it's here not the Toko.
Also, an independent hydrologist based in the Upper East region, Richard Abare, says,
basically has to do with siting, what we call the siting. Siting is basically geophysical studies. It's a study that we do to determine where we can find water. You don't expect to just go anywhere at all and drill and get water. No, it doesn't work like that. You have to do siting, geophysical studies, which will determine that here there's water, here there is not. Not every area has water. Okay, so I've realized that people are moving away from siting the geophysical studies because it comes at an extra cost. So people will really want to use their own means and get a place and drill, and off they go.
If you say own means, just go into the community and started drilling, or how?
The borehole drillers have a way. They have this, I don't know how scientific it is. They'll hold some two metals and moving. I've not tested it to know how scientific that thing works. So they do that, which is like a way of trying to determine a place to where water is. Now, but we have scientifically proven ways. Okay, we have EM. EM is the electromagnetic method. We also have resistivity method. So those are all methods that you will use to site, and you will see the signatures. You will see it. You say, oh, once you plot the graph, you can see that here there is water. So let's point it. Let's draw here. I've done some work way back. I did some work around Kuti, and we had water. So I don't know how it is that people are drilling and they are not getting.
In a written response,
the Ministry of Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs acknowledged that the Datoko site encountered a hydrological challenge after drilling attempts reportedly failed even at a depth of 100 meters. The ministry said the contractor subsequently notified the Talisi District Assembly and that Santing was selected as an alternative site because it fell within the same beneficiary cluster and already hosted organized livelihood groups interested in fish farming. The ministry further stated that the project was completed in Santing in June 2024 and that the relocation was not accompanied by the required administrative communication and documentation at the district level, creating confusion over the project's status.
In the Toko, residents say they have been denied a project meant for them. In Santing, residents say they have received a project that does not work. Between them lies a pattern of misallocation, weak oversight, and a breakdown in accountability, leaving both communities without the livelihood they were promised. Moses Appiah, Talisi District.
So that's a report there. And currently, as we speak, the opening ceremony of the 2026 FIFA World Cup is currently happening. And of course, Africa is proud to see Burna Boy on that international stage performing there. We'll cross over to the opening ceremony shortly. I've seen many of your messages. Let me try to do a few of them before I take leave of you. This one says that from Precursor Kwame Aristocrats, Attorney General should retrieve money and let Wontumi stand trial in addition. Okay, so that's what he shares. I have to be cutting some of the messages short. From Christopher Kwame, good evening. Hey, Wontumi going for plea bargaining. The world is the world is a stage. The court should not forget to impose the necessary interest on the loan. Finished. Okay. This one says, hi KOJ. Nobody is a child in Ghana again not to know what opposition calculated act can be. The cost of the fire at Gridco, please, that it has been justified that it has nothing to do with human. It's an old machines that led to that. Prosper Ndawanya says, KOJ, is a plea bargain not for the Exim Bank case, while the 3rd July ruling date for the illegal mining case and the Nimrit Forest. I think there are two separate issues that stand to be corrected. Kwame, the committee set up by the Minister of Energy and Government over the fire outbreak must make the report known to the public. Okay.